This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. The Guest House by Rumi. Welcome to stage 3 of the Eco-Soulcentric developmental wheel, a stage that unfolds in the dazzling, storming, and fertile landscapes of the early adolescence. The stage name is called the Thespian in the Oasis, and the passage into this stage is called puberty. So puberty is not only about the changing of the bodies and the blossoming of sexuality. Puberty actually is and represents a psychospiritual threshold, a sudden shift in our perception about ourselves, in our motivations, in our sense of self, in the way that we are placing in the world. Everything changes here. Everything shifts. Now, the family is less important and more important. The peer group is becoming, and society at large, and sexuality. These become the new mirrors that we are gazing into and that we are interested in. It is a time in life when it seems like the gates are opening widely and we are invited to step in boldly and courageously, holding our fire into the world. It is also the time when we are shifting from the east hemisphere of the wheel towards the west hemisphere, from the realm of being towards the realm of doing. The Thespian in the Oasis is the archetype of this stage 3. Why the Thespian? Well, because life in stage 3 becomes a stage. The thespian is like an actor, is trying on different kind of masks, is trying on different kind of roles. They are experimenting with voice, with gestures, with costumes, with many ways of experiencing drama in one's life. They are in full delight of experiencing many ways, many different ways of living. They are asking themselves, who am I really? What roles would fit me best? How do I want to be seen? Or what should I choose? This stage 3, it's a lot about choosing. And overall, it can be a thrilling time in one's life, and it can also be terrifying. Both are true. To be a thespian, it's not about fakeness. No, it's about experimenting life. It's about taking on as many masks as we can so that finally we can discover the face beneath the mask. The Oasis is like the crowded marketplace of society. We encounter here many people of all sorts of personalities, styles, agendas, and races. And yeah, in general, this time of our life and this oasis is very alluring. It's full of allurement, of danger, of temptation, and of possibility. It often feels like a talent show or a popularity contest. Often the Oasis is full of these questions. Who am I? Am I actually liked? Am I worthy? Do I matter? Am I lovable? Am I beautiful? And many more of this sort. And yet, beneath all this surface drama, there are deeper layers of meaning. The Oasis is the place that is inviting us to create our social individuality that is formed by our values, our beliefs, our way of belonging in the world, the skill of belonging in the world. And in all this chaos, there is a call that is utterly precious. The main developmental task here in stage 3 is to create a social presence that is both socially accepted and authentic, to find a genuine way of belonging and a group of people to be faithful to. Either way is easy. To be accepted without being authentic, that's called conforming. Conforming to what others want of us. And the other goes as well. To be authentic without belonging, well, probably that's called rebelling and might also be called isolation. But to hold both, to belong and to be authentic, it is as if you are holding the fire of your true self in the middle of your circle of people. This is the true artistry of the adolescence. Stage 3, it's not only about teenagers that are undergoing some biological transformations. No, stage 3 is about people of all ages. People of all ages are in this psychospiritual developmental stage. In fact, our modern culture, it's largely a culture inhabited by stage 3 people. Stage 3 people that we are calling adolescents. And they can be 16 years old or they can be 60 years old or beyond. Adults also are in stage 3 because they are not moving past this stage for the lack of the development of the previous 2 stages that were not sufficiently developed. And so many people in stage 3 remain caught here because they are continuously seeking approval, or they are afraid to risk for their authenticity, or they are conforming for safety, or they are chasing a certain kind of status through a job or through a life partner. As if any of these elements would feed the hunger of true belonging. So stage 3, it's about any of us at any stage. Any of us who are standing between the hunger to belong and the longing to be true. Stage 3 burns with fire. Just as the sun is the hottest at midday, similarly, the adolescent is radiating heat, the fire of passion, idealism, sexuality, desire, enthusiasm. They are craving to taste everything, to experiment everything. They are hungry for adventure. And so fire is, in fact, the gift to the community. So the fire is a gift to the community. Stage 3 people of all ages, if they are eco-soulcentric, they invent, they create, they are coming up with new styles. They invent new music, new dances, new language. They are keeping the culture alive, fresh, and unfixed. They are shaking the old world and they are igniting the new one. But the fire must be tended. If not, it burns and it might destroy. And surely, sometimes this happens anyway. And then we have to learn with curiosity and with courage, we have to learn from what we have destroyed by our fire, burning uncontrollable. But most useful in this stage is for the fire to be tended by the mentors and by the adults of the society, because thespians, they need mentorship and guidance, not for the fire to be extinguished, but to be tended in the way that is shining in a life-enforcing way. I have mentioned previously the main developmental task of this stage, which is to fashion a social self that is both authentic and accepted in society. Well, in this stage 3, there are also other subtasks that are helping us deepening our roots in this stage. One of the subtasks is value exploration and social authenticity. Well, values. What are your values? Can you name 3 or 5 most important values in your life? Values are an item of the compass that is guiding us through life. So here in this stage, adolescents of all ages, they are beginning to ask themselves big questions in order to identify their own values. Questions like, what is worth living for? What are my values? Who are my people? Or to whom or to what should I or will I be faithful to? Adolescents need the freedom to explore, to test their values, and to experiment with different philosophies of life. Authenticity is built on distinguishing what is truly ours and what is borrowed or imposed or inherited. If elders could mirror this process of value exploration and social authenticity, not by offering lectures, but by offering questions, in that case, the thespians will learn to trust their inner compass. Without this freedom, we are risking to have adolescents that are adopting identities that are false, they're not theirs, just for the sake to fitting in instead of belonging. Another subtask of this stage are the emotional skills. Well, the Oasis is a stormy field, waves of all sorts of emotions: anger, grief, fear, joy, shame. They're crashing every day. And so here the task is to learn the emotional integration process. In brief, this emotional integration cycle refers to the capacity to fully feel the emotion inside one's body, then to be able to express it, then to be truly insightful and to discover some sort of meaning of that emotion. Later, to act upon that emotion in a respectful and compassionate way towards oneself and the other. And finally, to collect and harvest the wisdom, the overview, the medicine of the emotion. Without these skills, emotions can explode destructively or can transform into deep sadness or even depression. Embracing our emotions in this skillful way, emotions themselves can become really wise teachers that are guiding us deeper into our authenticity and into relationality with the whole world. Another subtask here is about the skills that are gravitating around conflict resolution. Conflict cannot be avoided in the Oasis. Everyone is competing here for either place or belonging. Without skills, conflict becomes violence or withdrawal. With skills, conflict becomes a forge where authenticity and belonging can meet. And so these skills can vary. There are multiple ways of learning the conflict resolution art. Some of these skills include nonviolent expression, can be one of the skills. Another one can be the ability to listen with an open heart, or to validate someone else's feelings, or to know how to stand firm in some situations and how to compromise in other situations. For a Thespian, it is very important to learn the art of negotiation, not as a manipulation, but as a way of weaving the reality of true relationship into one's own life. Another subtask is the status assigning. So what does this mean? In childhood, the society was there, was a given. But in our adolescence, we are learning and we are understanding that we are co-creators of our world, of our society. So we are deciding who we are inviting in our life and for what kind of role. We are creating our personal world. So we are assigning status to lovers, to teachers, to mentors. And we are assigning status also to activities. Something like, this is sacred, this is fun, this is not me. Thespians, healthy thespians, they need to know and they need to have the ability, the skill to discern and to consciously invite people in their life, not to randomly be a victim of what happens to them. Another subtask is about sexuality and love. Puberty awakens the eros. There is this longing to merge with another, this desire to experiment pleasure, to touch mystery through intimacy. Sex and romance can be very powerful, alluring, but also at times quite confusing. So adolescents of any age, they need guidance, not shaming, not controlling, not silence, but they need to be mentored and guided even through these particular places in one's life. They have to learn how to flirt and how to court with respect. They need perhaps help in discovering their sexual orientation. They need to know how to say no clearly. And they also need to learn how to take care of themselves, to be safe emotionally, physically, spiritually. Handled with care, sexuality can become a sacred teacher. Mishandled or not addressed at all or partially addressed, it can transform into a profound wound that can last for a lifetime and that can also hurt others meanwhile. Another subtask here is revolving around sustenance skills. Well, the Thespian needs to know also how to sustain themselves, needs to learn a livelihood, how to provide for themselves shelter and food. They need to be economically independent, at least enough to stand on their 2 feet. Without sustenance, we might be trapped and incapacitated to further go into later stages of development. If we are dependent on someone else financially or even emotionally or psychologically, maybe onto a parent or a spouse, it's very hard to hear and answer the call that is coming from the depths, that is coming from the soul. Another subtask that we are referring to here is the human nature reciprocity. So in the Oasis, the Thespian is also very connected to the whole web of life. If in earlier stages they were belonging mostly to the garden, to the contained nature, here in the Oasis, the Thespian must learn that he or she or they are part of the wider web of life. They are part of Earth ecology. A socially accepted personality that ignores the well-being of the world is truly not an acceptable personality. The reciprocity with Earth, caring truly for the forests, for waters, animals, air, it is part of the way we are belonging to the world. Nature continues to be a mirror also in this stage. The Thespians, they can see themselves in the natural world. They can see their own depths reflected in the oceans, or they can feel the vastness of their own hearts reflected in the deserts or in the meadows. They can also see their own lostness or confusion, which might be reflected in a dark forest. Being in communion with nature and having such a close relationship is something that is deepening the quality of the authenticity that the Thespian is searching and is needing in this stage. The last subtask that I will be referring to is the one related to welcoming home the loyal soldiers. In this stage, the Thespian needs to meet their loyal soldiers. This subpersonality, inner subpersonality that was formed in early childhood with the mission to have them safe and to protect them at all costs. The loyal soldiers are using childhood survival strategies such as hiding or pleasing or controlling, overly controlling oneself and others, or criticizing oneself and others, or manipulating. All these strategies were once very useful. They were keeping the person safe, but now they are representing a limit. They are keeping the persons too small, and they are representing a barrier towards stepping into a greater maturity. So what is needed here is for us to recognize that the childhood survival war, it's over, that we no longer need these loyal soldiers to protect us, that we are safe and that we have enough capacities and resources, inner and outer resources, to survive, even to thrive in our life. So we must welcome back our loyal soldiers. We must thank them honestly and sincerely and with reverence for all the work that they have done with us and for us, for all their loyalty, and to assure them that their strategy is no longer needed, and perhaps even to offer them new roles, new ways of being part of our psychic community. Perhaps not as a controller, but as a sacred ally. When we welcome home the loyal soldier, we are reclaiming immense energy that was locked in fear. This is one of the most liberating steps that we can do in the Oasis. I mentioned this earlier also, the fact that some people remain stuck in stage 3. And well, stage 3 can be a healthy version of stage 3 or an egocentric version of stage 3, an unhealthy stage 3. And for the people that are stuck in stage 3, in an egocentric stage 3, they are looping around survival strategies that are based in conformism and rebellion. These people usually adopt false identities because they don't have access to their own true identity. So these identities can be seen as victims, princes, princesses, impersonators, rebels, conformists, and much of what the world is composed by are stage 3 people that are in the adolescent psychospiritual development level. It is never too late at any age to make steps and to develop psychospiritual, either if people are in egocentric stage 3 or in eco-soulcentric stage 3. The necessity here is that they need to be willing to progress, to be aware of where they are, and to devote themselves to this work, to address the tasks that were poorly addressed in previous stages, and to be fully present with what is happening in the stage that they are in. The most important thing is to be devoted to what is happening right now. The way out of the oasis of this stage 3 is through the passage we called confirmation. So here life gets really tricky. In appearance, your life, one's life, appears to be quite successful. We have accomplished many things. We are recognized. We have friends. We have a very great social scene. And yet, we are called deeper. We are called by a certain kind of mysterious voice that tells us that there is more to this life. And so we resist at first. And maybe some people resist for their whole life. But the call persists. And then slowly, we go through this threshold of confirmation, and we have a sense that more mystery, more depth, more purpose, more meaning, more soul exists in the world. And we say yes, and we cross the threshold towards stage 4.